everyone. All right. Let's go ahead and get this started. Make sure that we are, everyone. All right. Let's do this. Oh, and let me be sure that I am muting this so that I'm not spilling, I'm not spilling over. And let's go ahead. Boom. Done deal. Okay. Beautiful. So it's good that I'm not spilling over. Let me make sure that I am all the way live watching this here. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for those that are showing up. And of course, I've got to turn this down. All right. If you're watching this live, put hashtag live in the chat. If you're watching this in replay, put hashtag replay in the chat. I got a good one for you this week. Let's close all this out. All right. So I'm just making sure that we are here, that people are gathered, and it's a wonderful thing. So we see the title, How to Get 8 Hours of Work Done in 3. We're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen, pull up the PowerPoint. You know how we do. I usually show PowerPoint, but mostly it's going to be a conversation and a workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to put that into the chat. All right. If you've got any questions, feel free to put that into the chat. This is live. This is interactive, and I'm excited for what I'll be sharing with you all. All right. So let's go ahead and move this down, and let's see. You all can see my screen, which is a blessing. And I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Let me scoot that over there. All right, here we go. Let's see. So I'm just double checking. I like to be sure that you can all see what I see, even though I'll be mostly showing some PowerPoint slides very quickly, but it's going to be a conversation. You'll be hearing me directly. So I'm looking forward to that. So our title is How to Get 8 Hours of work done in 3 hours. PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, but how to get 8 hours work done in 3 hours. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So looking at this, and as I said, if you're watching this live, definitely do that. I want you all to do something for me. So as we're getting started here, think about yesterday. Think about what you were doing day before, Tuesday, Monday, whatever it is. Put it in the chat. How many hours were you at work or working? All right, so type in the chat. If you were working 8 hours, 9 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, whatever you were typing, put that in the chat. How many hours you're working? So let me take a look here. So, you can put 8, 9, 12. All right, I thought I saw 12, but it's not unrealistic, okay? So here now put that in there. Here's the real question. How many hours did you actually work? All right, how many hours did you actually work? So what I mean by that is this. How many hours did you put in some deep work? Now, I don't mean checking emails. I don't mean sitting in meetings. If you were doing some networking or some one-on-ones, a connect, not looking busy, if you actually produce something that mattered, type that number in the chat. So this is different than what you were putting in, how many hours you worked. So how many hours did you work? Let's put that in. Now, let me check the chat and see, because it might be 2 hours, might be 2, 3, whatever you may be putting in there. So let's see what we have. All right. If you think about this, this is the reality that nobody wants to talk about. You're working anywhere from 8 to 10 hours in a day, but you're only getting 2 to 3 hours of real work done. And guess what? You're exhausted doing it. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what's happening and, more importantly, how to fix it. All right. Now, this is not what you may think, another trick or some type of productivity hack. It also, trust me, this is not another time management system. But what we're doing is we're going to be honest and real about how your brain actually works. So that's going to be key, right? So we're going to talk about this and we're going to get some practical information. We're going to share some practical things that you can do to capitalize on that, all right? So let's go back and let's share the screen so we can show you some tips that we're going to be discussing. Also give you some reality, some facts here. So now, looking at this, now look at this. Research. Now, this is not me. This is Stanford. Research shows that average knowledge workers, now that's you. That's you here. That's all those that are watching here. That's live, watching us on a replay. That's everyone that's here. You get 2.8 hours of actual productive work done in an 8-hour workday. 2.8. I want to let that sink in because that's not 8 hours. That's not even 4 hours. That's 2.8 hours. That's less than 3. So the question, of course, is what about the other 5? Well, the other 5 is this. The other 5 is actually, it's meetings. It's checking email. It's moving files around. It's making sure that you're responding. It's looking busy, pretending to work. So really, in the end, it's fake work. Now, if this is something that's familiar, type yes in the chat. Type yes in the chat. Let me just take a look here. All right. All right. So yeses, there we go. Know why that you're thinking yes and your mind says yes, but you may not want to type that in because this is universal. But here's what kills me. Now, we all know this true. We've all had days where we're busy from 9 to 5, but at the end of the day, we look back and think, what did I actually accomplish? What really got done? But instead of fixing the problems, what we do is we work more hours. We stay late, we work weekends, we may check email at 10 at night, and we're still exhausted and we're behind. So the map here, as I showed you earlier, doesn't lie. You're only productive 2.8 hours per day anyway. So what if you just stop pretending and focus on making those hours count? I know it's novel, it's revolutionary, but this is what we're focusing on here. So now that we're here, let's take a look at this. When it comes to that, why we don't fix this, why this doesn't work. Here's the reason. See, we built an entire culture, work culture, around presence instead of performance. So that means we confuse being busy with being productive. So we confuse, and we're constantly saying we're sitting at a desk for 8 hours, and we think that sitting at that desk for 8 hours is equivalent to getting 8 hours of work done. See, that's the confusion right there. It's looking like we're working without actually working. So if you've ever been this, if you've ever felt guilty for not being productive, put that in the chat. Type the word guilty in the chat. Even though the brain was completely offline, type guilty for feeling that way. If you felt, it's 3 p.m., you're looking around, what did I get done? Type guilty in the chat, okay? I'm going to put that in there because that's happened to me before. Sitting by the desk in the office, in the cubicle. All right. See, everyone's guilty of this. Why? Because here's the thing. We're trying to be machines. We're trying to be, here's what it is. We're trying to maintain that same level of focus and productivity from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's not how we as humans work. That's not how we operate. We don't have that drive, that focus, that constant place of same level of focus from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's not how we're made, how we're constructed. But the challenge is nobody wants to admit it. So what do? We keep pretending. We keep measuring hours instead of results. And we keep wondering why we're exhausted. So that's the challenge of it. So let's look at some points. Let's look at some points here. So looking at this, when you try to be conductive, when you try to be productive for 8 straight hours, you're fighting your biology the whole time. Here's what happens. One, you end up exhausted without accomplishment. You work all day and you're completely drained. But you look at what happened is though, you look at your to-do list and you think, you didn't even make a dent. And that's the worst feeling in the world because it's being tired and being behind. So you beat yourself up and that's where you're at. The second thing is we make mistakes. You make mistakes from tired thinking. So think about this, and this may have happened. You ever send an email at about 4 p.m. that you regret? You make that decision that's like later on in the day that you have to come in early and take time to undo the next morning. See, that's not because you're any of us that we're incompetent. It's because the brain was offline and you're trying to force it to work anyway. See, there's ebbs and flows to this. Next, the third thing is burnout becomes inevitable. You can't run on empty forever. Eventually, you're going to crash. And then you're not just tired, you're broken. So you lose interest in your goals, you resent your work, you start thinking about quitting everything. See, this isn't sustainable, and deep down, you already know it. So let's look at what the science says. So this is a Stanford research, and I put that on there so that you don't think that it's just me, it's just mine. This is just what Trevor's thinking. No, this is research that was done here. So let's talk about this. Stanford research shows that when you work more than 50 to 55 hours, your productivity drops off a cliff. Boom. You're not getting more done, you're getting less done. Hear that. You're not getting more done, you're getting less done by working that many hours. You're just spending more time doing it poorly. Excellent. But it's not just about the total hours, it's about consecutive hours. See, if you want to think about it, our brain can only sustain deep focus for 2 to 3 hours, and it needs real recovery, not a coffee break, real recovery. See, after that 2-hour window, you're not working at full capacity. You're basically right now, you're in maintenance mode. You can do easy tasks, routine stuff, but complex thinking, deep work, creative problem solving, your brain doesn't have the juice for that anymore. It's a wrap. See, this is called the power window, and everyone has one. Everyone has a power window. For most people, it's the 2 to 3 hours after you're fully alert. And usually that could be morning, somewhere between 8 a.m., noon. For some of you, it could be afternoon or evening. For some, but here's what matters. We all only get about 2 to 3 peak hours per day. That's it. The rest of the time, your brain is coasting. So this is the reality. And the challenge is fighting this reality is why you're exhausted. You're trying to do 8 hours of peak performance when your brain is only capable of 2 to 3. So those numbers, they don't match. Right? Now, looking at this, we've got to look at the math behind this. And I want to use an example here. So here's a software engineer. All right. This is an example. So there's a software engineer who was frustrated that he was working 8 to 9 hours a day, but felt like he wasn't getting much done. So he tracked what he actually wrote when he actually wrote code versus when he was just working. So you know what he discovered? He discovered that 90% of his code, the stuff that really ended up in the final product, was written between 8 and 11 a.m. The other 5 hours of his day, it was basically he was debugging mistakes he made when he was tired, or he was either sitting in meetings. He was also during that time answering Slack messages, looking busy. So once he saw that pattern, he saw those things, everything changed for him. Basically, what he was doing is he started protecting that 8 to 11 a.m. window like it was Fort Knox. Okay, no meetings, no Slack, no email, just deep work. He cut his workday from 9 hours to 5 hours. And what happened? His output actually went up. Same results in less time. And guess what? He wasn't exhausted anymore. See, that's the power of working with your biology instead of fighting it. So now that we know the solution, we looked at the research and all those things, let's talk about how to fix this. All right. So I'm going to present some solutions to you. So get ready. These are things that you're going to actually put in there. All right. So, and thank you. Continue to put in the chat. I see there, and you'll see continue to put in there in the chat. All right. So let's talk about the solutions that we have for you. Remember, these are things that you're going to want to implement ASAP. Right. So solution number one. Let's identify a solution number one. Identify your power window. So what I want you to do. So for the next 3 days, I want you to pay attention to when you feel most alert and focused. Ask yourself, when do you do your best thinking? When does the hard work feel doable instead of impossible? Now, for most people, it's morning, but not everyone. All right. That's why we say most people. Some people out there, some of you that are watching this now, you are an afternoon person. And some of you don't hit your stride until 2 p.m. That's fine. It's fine. You're not looked at down or anything differently. You just have to know your pattern. It's not about following someone else's. It's knowing yours. Now that you know it, track it. Track that pattern. Track your energy. When did you write the email that came out perfectly? When did you solve the problem that had been bugging you? When did you make real progress on that project? That right there, that's your power window. Once you know it, you can protect it like your life depends on it. That's really what it is. You're protecting it as if everything is kind of on that. So what happens is it depends. So when you focus like your life depends on it, then you're able to secure and save that power window for that real work. And what happens during that power windows? No meetings, no email, no DMs, no, hey, I got a quick question. Nothing. All that gets removed. All of that gets canceled. This is nothing happens that doesn't require your peak brain power. So your power window is your most important work, period. That's it. Right? If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat. But this is your power window. So you're going to do that for the next 3 days. All right. So that's solution number one. So let's move on to solution number two. It's good stuff here. All right. Let's go. So solution number two. What we're going to do is audit your fake work. You may say, okay, what do you mean by that? Well, we're going to be honest because we all do it. Now, fake work falls into 5 categories. It does. All right. So let's get to those categories. Like, what do you mean falls into? Here you go. Are we ready? Get your pens ready because this is some good stuff that we have here. So the fake work falls into 5 categories. Category number 1. Whoop. Meetings that should be emails. Yes, raise your hand. Say yes. If there's no decision being made at a meeting and no collaboration, you don't need to get together and powwow or anything, then it shouldn't be a meeting. How many hours a week do you spend in meetings when you sit there thinking this could have been an email? See, that's fake work. Done deal. All right. Next one. Category 2. Emails that could have been ignored. Now, not every single email requires a response. Not every question you have, it requires your input. You see, but we feel like we respond anyway because we're afraid that someone may think we're not responsive, or we want to be productive, or we don't want to seem that we're unhelpful. See, that's fake work. right? Category 3, busy work you do to avoid hard work. Let's think about this. Organizing files. Let's make sure we have the shred pile over here and we have the real pile over here. Let's empty out the waste basket. You know, all those things. Researching what you should be, planning when you should. So that busy work, it's researching. It's all this busy work, planning when you should be executing. See, we do easy tasks to feel productive when we're avoiding the hard tasks we know we should do. That's fake work. So category 4, perfectionism on things that don't matter. This is basically spending an hour tweaking a font when no one cares, rewriting an email like 5, 6 times when the first version was fine. See, this is making something perfect when good enough would have worked. See, that's fake work. Another thing is category 5, other people's situations, other people's priorities disguise this urgency. See, someone else's emergency now becomes your crisis. Someone else, because of their lack of planning, this now becomes your problem. See, that's fake work, all right? So what you want to go through, you want to take the time, go through your calendar from yesterday and see how much of what you did fall into these 5 categories. You got to be honest with yourself. See, most people, when they do this, they realize they spend about 5.5 hours on fake work, and that's what you need to eliminate. Kill them. So that's solution number 2. Audit your fake work. All right. Let's move on to our next solution. So this is solution number 3. Compress your essential work. Right. Let's get this up here. Every day there's, if you think about this, every day there may be like 3 to 5 things that actually matter. Tasks, these are tasks that move you toward your goals. And now work that only you can do. You cannot delegate this. All right. So what you want to do is identify these 3 to 5 things, schedule them in your power window. And when you schedule them in your power window, that's when your brain's at your full capacity. Everything else, and I mean everything else, either gets batched, delegated, or deleted. Done deal. That's it. No more, no less. Okay. When I'm talking about batching, I mean group all your admin tasks, whatever you got to do them when your energy is low. So you answer your emails in 1 30-minute block. You return all your calls at the same time. So that's an example of batching. When I say delegate, means if someone else can do even 80% as well as you, let them. Done deal. That's a wrap. So your peak brain hours are too valuable for you to waste on tasks others can handle. Now delete. Delete. This is if it's something's been on your to-do list, let's say for over 3 weeks, and nothing bad has happened because you didn't do it, well, you don't actually need to do it. Delete it. It's a wrap. It's not important. It doesn't move the needle. See, here's a simple rule. If it doesn't require deep thinking, it doesn't belong in your power window. That's it. That's why you want to save your peak hours for peak work. Everything else happens in maintenance mode. So that's it. You compress your essential work. Now, let's move to solution number 4. You should take some notes so you can apply this right away. All right, design maintenance hours. Oops. Low power PowerPoint. Either way, let's go. You know what I mean? Design maintenance hours. Okay. So what do I mean by design maintenance hours? Done deal. After your power window closes, let's say it's 11 a.m. for you. All right. Let me get this up here so you know. You're in maintenance mode for the rest of the day. That's it. That's the one. It's something you just want to say. Don't fight it. Maintenance mode is when you do your admin tasks, like easy emails, routine meetings that don't require deep thinking, planning tomorrow, organizing your files, all those things. See? So what you're doing is this is not when you try to write that important proposal. You don't try to solve the complex problems. And you don't even do your creative work at the time. The reason why you don't is because your brain is offline. Your 3 p.m. self is not your 9 a.m. self. Very different person. So since it's not, we want to stop expecting the same input. Literally, stop expecting that same input. See, there was a client who kept scheduling client strategy calls at 4 p.m. Why? Because that's when the client was available. At that time, though, her calls were terrible, and she couldn't figure out why. So once she moved them to 10 a.m. during her power window, close rate went up to 30%. Same skills, same pitch, different energy level. See, your brain has limits, and it's important that we learn how to design around them instead of ignoring them. That's the key thing, right? So design your maintenance hours, right? If you get some good stuff out of this, put a 1 into the chat. Put a 1 into the chat if this is all making sense. It's landing for you. All right. So let me share the screen and let's get to our final solution. So solution number 5. And you might know what this is. It's protect your power window. And these are the scripts. When you want to protect your power window, you have to protect it like your life depends on it. Done deal. This is where most people will fail. What happens is they'll identify their power window. They know that it matters, but then they let someone schedule a meeting during that time. They allow distractions to come in and interruptions. They check their Slack real quick. See, what happens is what you need to do is you need scripts. When someone's trying to schedule a meeting during your power window, you've got to say, I'm not available at that time. How about 2 p.m.? So let's put these up in. When someone interrupts you, you have to say something like, I have a hard stop right now. Can we connect at 11:30? When your team wants to put some input in there, you have to say something like, I'm available from 9 to 11 unless it's an actual emergency. All right. So these are all the scripts here. You have to be direct. You have to set boundaries. And I know this may not be comfortable. It may not be something that you want to hear, but I want to just give you this suggestion. Are you ready? Stop apologizing for protecting your most productive hours. That's it. Don't apologize for it. This is when you get your real work done. So you'd have to, and stop feeling sorry. This is not being selfish. This is making sure that your output gets done. And last one I was on there, turn off all, not some, all notifications during your power window. Set the alarm. Turn on airplane mode. Quiet. Turn it off. Don't even put it on silent. Don't have your phone buzz. Don't have your emails ping. Turn whatever messaging system you use, turn that off. Because what this is, it's 2 to 3 hours. I'm completely uninterrupted focus. That'll give you better results than if you were doing 8 hours of constantly interrupted work. Right. So that's solution number 5. Protect your power window. Why? Because it's the most valuable time you have. Right. So this is what's going to happen. Now, giving you the 5 solutions. This is what's going to happen when you implement your system. Right. Let me go back to the slide here. Right then. That's what's going to happen as you implement your solution. Okay. So you get the same input, often more, in 3 focus hours than you used when you got distracted in 8 hours. And you ask me why? Because you're finally working with your biology instead of fighting it. See, this is you now doing your hardest work when your brain is at the peak. You're not wasting your best hours on emails and admin work. And here's the radical part. What if you just stopped working after those 3 to 5 focused hours? What if you handled your maintenance tasks and then you were done for the day? Your afternoons are yours again. You're not exhausted. You're not behind. Guess what? You actually have life outside of work. Yes, life outside of work. It's possible. See, this isn't about you being lazy, saying, okay, I want to work less hours. This is about you working with your biology, being smart. you're not pretending that you're a machine. Because remember, machines work the same consistently, 9 a.m., 5 p.m. They're the same. That's not how humans work. We're not built that way. We're not constructed that way. We have ebbs and flows. We have peak windows. You want to do that during that peak window, right? That's important. That is so key. So it's not you being lazy. This is you getting that understanding about working with your biology. So this is what top performers know. So I want to share this with you. Come on. Here we go. So looking at this, the highest performers that I've coached over 20 years, the ones that are running successful businesses, that are hitting the big goals, they've all figured this out. They don't work more hours, they work smarter hours. So what they do is they match their hardest work to their peak biology. See, they protect their power windows like it's sacred, like their life depended on it, like it's Fort Knox. They say no to almost everything that doesn't fit into their system. All right. So it's ruthless like that. See, there was a CEO that managed 15 million in revenue. He worked 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day, but you manage 50 million in revenue? How's that even possible? How's that possible that you're doing this across states, across countries? So if you only work 4 hours a day, what were you doing? So this is what he was doing. And point up, I know. His first 3 hours, he was doing deep strategic work. First 3 hours, all right? Worked 4 hours a day. That fourth hour, he was handling key meetings and decisions. Everything else got delegated or it didn't happen. Now, he thought it was lazy. Like, he had to be told that this was genius. Why? Because here's the truth. You do not need to work 8 hours a day to be successful. You don't. You need to cancel that mindset. You need to work 2 to 3 peak hours extremely well and stop wasting time on everything else. See, that's the secret that they're not telling you. It's not complicated, but what it does is it requires you to stop pretending that all hours are equal. See, remember, all hours are not created equal. So now that you have this, and I've shared this with you, this is what you're going to do. We're going to give you some homework, all right? This is what you're going to do tomorrow. So take notes out. So I know you've been taking notes. This is what you're going to do tomorrow. Buckle up. 1, first thing in the morning, I want you to identify your highest energy 2 hours. It's not what you think they should be. This is what they actually are. Now, for most of you, as I said earlier, for most of you, this will be in the morning. For some, it'll be different. But I want you to notice when your brain feels the sharpest, right? Next, I want you to block those 2 hours on your calendar for your most important work. Now, these are not your networking or meetings or emails. This is the actual work that moves you forward, the thing that moves the needle. The third thing, now you've got to protect your hours. Protect your hours as if your life depends on it, because really in the end it does. So when someone tries to schedule anything during that meeting, you have to say no. When you're tempted to check your email, you've got to say no. Because when you've got to set that boundary. This is boundary setting. This is firm, this is ruthless, but trust me, the results will pay out. You'll get more done in those 2 hours than you usually get done in the entire day. Do this for one day. Once you do it for that one day, then do it again. Once you do it again, what you do then is you make that non-negotiable. And you'll watch this. That's going to be so key. All right. So here's something that I'd like to do for you now that you've got these tips. So I've been coaching people for over 20 years on how to achieve more without burning themselves out. And this power window system is always a breakthrough. What I want to do is help you personally map out your power window, eliminate your fake work, and design your actual 3-hour workday. Now, this is going to be a generic template because your specific brain patterns are for your specific life and your specific goals, right? So this is going to be custom to you. So your power window is going to be different from someone else. Your fake work is different. Your priorities are different. So that's why I'm offering these free sessions, right? So these are going to be some free strategy sessions where we eliminate your work, where we map out your current work patterns, we identify what's still in your peak hours, and we design your work. What happens is with this, you'll walk away with a specific plan, not theory, but actual actions that you can start taking tomorrow. So this is what we're going to create together in a strategy session, all right? So we create your power window map. We'll identify exactly when your brain's at peak capacity and when it's running on fumes. Second thing is we'll do your fake work on it. We'll go through your typical day and identify your 5+ hours you're currently wasting on tasks that don't matter. Third thing we'll do is your workday design. We'll create your specific schedule, what you do during your peak hours, what you do during your maintenance hours, and what you stop doing completely. And lastly, what we'll do is we'll come up with your protective strategies, how to say no to interruptions, how to set boundaries without guilt, and how to train your team to respect your power windows, right? So, and I just want to let you know, when we get together, when you book this will not be a coaching session where you get generic advice. This is going to be a working session where we build your personal system. And if after that session you want to go deeper, if you want 3 months of one-on-one coaching to completely rebuild how you work, we can talk about it. But this is zero pressure. The strategy session alone will give you what you need to start getting results, right? So I want to encourage you to book some time with me. Go to talkwithtrevor.com. And I do have some sessions available this week. Now, I want to be clear. These sessions, these are going to be clear. These are one-on-one. I can only take on so many people. And the link, I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat right now. So it's talkwithtrevor.com. Right in the chat there. Click on that, book a time. Now, these sessions are going to be, sometimes they fill up within 24 to 48 hours after the workshop. These are for people who are serious about fixing this problem, right? Now, the people who say, I think about it, those are the ones that are still exhausted and behind 6 months from now. So the question is, which one are you? Are you going to book this time? Or are you going to let this time slide by? So what I want to do is I do want to encourage you. I want to tell you something that, since we're about to wrap up, see, you deserve to achieve your goals without running yourself into the ground. See, you deserve to be productive without being exhausted, getting your afternoon backs and actually having life. You have to realize that it's not about you being broken because you're tired. You're not failing because you can't work 8 productive hours in a row. You're not weak because you need your power window protected. This is what I've been saying throughout the entire workshop, right? Throughout this entire time, is that you're a human being, and human beings have biological limits. The most successful people that are out there that are in your field, they aren't the ones who ignore these limits. They're the ones who respect them and design around them. That's important. Now, but you cannot do this alone. Those successful people do not. They need someone who can look at your patterns objectively and help you see what you're missing. That's what these strategy sessions are for, to help you understand your power window and build a system that actually works for your life. So the question is whether you're ready to stop pretending you can work 8 productive hours and start working 3 productive hours instead. Done deal. So let's review what we went over tonight. So I know going over a little bit, said it's 30 minutes. Forgive me for the time, but let's wrap this up. All right, so tonight, we covered that. You only get 3 to your personal, when we identified exactly your personal power window exactly when your brain is at peak capacity and when it's running on fumes. We talked about your fake work audit. Excuse me. Yes, that's what we did. We talked about your fake work audit, that your brain has only 2.8-hour power window when it can do peak performance. After that, you're in maintenance mode, whether you admit it or not. Third thing is we identify your power window, eliminate fake work, compress your essential work peak hours, and protect those hours ruthlessly. And then fourth, your action step tomorrow, identify and protect your 2 highest energy hours for important work only. So this is everything you need to stop working 8 hours and getting 3 hours of results. Everything you need. The question is now is what are you going to do with it? So I'm going to check. Any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'll put in time. Usually I do a Q&A here, but I do see we're running over. But if you have any questions, feel free to private message me. All right. So what I want to do is just really encourage you that this is it. This is the moment to decide. You can keep pretending to be productive for 8 hours while getting 3 hours of work done, or you can just do the 3 hours of real work and stop pretending. One option leaves you exhausted and behind. The other one gives you your afternoons back. See, you've got the knowledge and you have the system. Now it's time for you to implement. Now, if you want my help and you want me to personally map out your power window, grab one of these free strategy sessions. Go to talkwithtrevor.com. The link is in the chat. Don't let another week go by where you're exhausted and wondering why you can't get more done. You don't need to work harder. You just need to work with your brain instead of. So book a session. Let's fix this and let me see you on a strategy call, right? And if you know someone that can share this that's not here, share this with. Let them know to come here, watch the replay. And if they don't have time for that, book a session with them. Go to talkwithtrevor.com and let's get this done. All right. Hope this was a great help for you. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next workshop. Actually, I look forward to seeing you in the strategy session this week. All right. Thank you all so much. I'll see you soon.